why don't we get started? What are you reading, Kristine?
Pasticces.
Is that right?
Apple pasticces.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 22. Don't correct me, John, because I know I just checked it to make sure, right? It's number 22. And the topic we have for our conversation today is, what's been your biggest challenge this month? What has been your biggest challenge this month? So, without any further ado, who would like to open the batting, so to speak?
I was just going to say, one of the biggest challenge, and I was talking to a gentleman yesterday that was trying to sell me a program, and I was listening to him. Glenn has given me many directions of my presentations. One of the things was this guy was really flat when he was talking. It was all about their program. It wasn't about me. Yeah. So I talked to this guy about the COI, for example, and I brought up and I used an example of $5,000 for a program, and out of 10 qualified leads, if you got 2, that's leaving 8 on the table. So I said, my math's not very good. That's only 40,000 a month times 12. You're only leaving 480,000 a year on the table. What would you do with that extra $500,000 a year? And his eyes got the size of saucers. He never looked at it as extending it out over a year. I said, you have to make it about them. I said, I really don't give a damn about your program. It's all about me. And he said, well, I used to be in sales, car sales, and real estate. So I said, a prime example with you're talking to your prospects is, good morning. If you're talking to a soccer mom, she wants a van to be able to transport kids, equipment, groceries, what have you. She doesn't want a 2-seater sports car. All you talk about is a 2-seater sports car. You don't have her attention. And this guy was kind of looking at me. His eyes are about the size of saucers, like, what's this? And I was going to tell him, are you one of those real estate salesmen that walk in and say, this is the kitchen? Give me a friggin' break. And, the guy thanked me after, but Glenn pointed out a lot of things that I do, basically, that was in the same thing that guy is doing in his sales. And I wasn't putting enough emotion and what have you in it. That was my point.
Well, John, for a man of few words, you sure had a lot to say.
I was going to explain it in a couple of shorter words to him, but, I was being polite.
You are. We've got ladies present, so behave yourself, all right?
I am.
By the way,
he is.
Yeah. Welcome, Bishakhaa. Good to see you. Lovely to see you join us today. Say hello. This is Alan and Kristine.
Hi,
and
Bishakhaa.
Hi, Bishakhaa.
Hi, Kristine. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so grateful for the invitation, Peter. I couldn't thank you anymore. I'm so grateful.
It's a pleasure. I mean, I call Bishakhaa my cupcake invitation, right?
Yes.
And John, you know why, because I shared with you, right? Because Bishakhaa responded to a direct message on LinkedIn, and I put a little picture of a cupcake because it's a way of that I have found that is non-threatening to talk with people. Okay. And by the way, tomorrow, for those of you who are on LinkedIn, in fact, you all are, right? For those on LinkedIn on Wednesday, there'll be a post there that promotes this group. But more important than that, there's also a video that goes with it. And I've actually tagged you because I've scheduled the post ahead of time, right? And I've tagged you all in there because I would love you to look at the video. I think you might find it really enjoyable. It only goes for 60 seconds, right? So quicker than you, John. All right. Anyway, we've been holding you up, Alan. I'll come back to you, Bishakhaa. But by the way, our topic we're talking about is what has been the biggest challenge you've had this month, okay?
Yep.
Alan, you've got your hand raised up there. Talk to us, my man. You are muted. I can't hear a word.
Sorry, thanks for reminding me. I turned it off when my wife came in, just in case she shouted at me. So, yeah, my biggest challenge has been balancing investors with property projects. So, what I mean by this is that I had a great surprise this week in that one of the groups of investors that I have been talking to came back and said, yes, they would like to work with us. So that was a real positive. So that gave us the other problem then of, well, how to work with these guys. And so what we've got to do is find a suitable project for them to invest in that they're happy with and that will be profitable and so on. So that was a big challenge because it is actually difficult to find investors, particularly ones who say they want to invest, and then not only do they want to invest, but they then have the money available, because the last thing you want is an investor to say, well, yes, I'd like to invest, but then it'll take them 6 months to get the money from wherever it is now and into a place that it can be used. So that was my biggest challenge for the month. Cheers.
By the way, Alan's wife is a lovely lady. Okay, she really is nice, ladies.
Cheers. Yes.
Alan, when you mentioned about you get an investor who's interested, right? But then it might take them 6 months to come to the party, so to speak, right?
Well, yes, I have had that in the past where, someone said they got money to invest, but, they couldn't say how much exactly, and they couldn't say exactly when it would be available. So it makes it very difficult to deal with.
Yeah. My point was this, because this could apply to all of us. How many of you have been in a situation where someone has shown really good interest, okay, and then they've ghosted you, and you think, what in the heck's happened? Has that ever happened to you? John, yes?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Bishakhaa?
It could be that they are embarrassed that they, for some reason, can't afford you or whatever it is, right?
Maybe.
Correct. All I'm saying is one of the challenges people have is that people ghost them, even though they showed a huge amount of interest, and all of a sudden it just evaporates.
Yep.
And you're right, Kristine, it could be for all the right reasons. There's no
It
doubt
could
about
be.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is they still ghosted you.
Well, yes. And what people normally do is blame themselves that, well, what did I do wrong that they've done that? But it might not be you. That's what I was getting at.
Yes. What else could you do? Because this is a big topic for many people. People who you reach out to people, okay, to offer the best support and advice and service you can. Even in Tina's case, when she's reaching out, we all know the challenge that she's got, right? But when you reach out to people and they show genuine interest, but then nothing happens, what else can you do?
Be that they had a family emergency. It might not be anything to do with the conversation you had. You know what I mean? So what if you reached out to them and said, I hope everything's all right, and that, you are available if you wish to discuss this matter further. That kind of thing is that where you're saying that, you haven't heard from them and you hope they're okay. And so you turn it around that you're caring about them and that it doesn't have to be about business. And that, yeah, sure.
Okay. Because, I'm nearly 80, so I can have a few bits of words.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot more experience than us.
No, don't be naughty.
See what happens when you're 80?
Lost for words now. What I would suggest is this. just message them. And I would prefer to do it with an audio message, you know, if you could.
A
But
voice message is good. Yeah, I agree.
let me finish my answer. Okay. I'm trying to be helpful here. And I would say to them, Kristine, we haven't heard anything for a while. Okay. Tell me, and I'd repeat the problem. Is this problem you had of A, B, and C, is this something that's still concerning you? That's all.
Okay.
That's all I'd say.
Is that all you would say?
Yeah. Don't
Yep.
hear anymore. Just keep it. Is this still concerning you?
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
might have some other concern. What if they had?
You don't want to start selling it. All you're doing is raising the issue. And I
Sure,
would
but
put that, you know, if you did it in text, I'd put 3 dots at the end of it. Kristine, is this problem you had with lead generation still concerning you? Dot, dot,
sure.
dot.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, just a suggestion.
That's
You've
a
got your
What-
hand up. Keep talking, Kristine. You've got your hand up. What do you want to talk about now?
Oh, it was different to that. But are we finished talking about that? Maybe if some other people have got something to say about that.
Oh,
You
well,
know,
Tina?
we'll come back to that.
Okay. So what I was going to say was my biggest challenge this month happened to be that, you know, the things that I love to do and that I really want to do are my wellness business, my music, which is part of my wellness business, but it is also my enjoyment and joy to my soul, basically. And I'm writing a book, which is about wellness, mental health stuff mainly. And so all of those things relate together. And I wanted to focus on that. But on top of that, earlier this month, and for the last year and a half, I've been studying an MBA. Well, guess what? I ended up not doing anything as well as I would have liked. And so my computer happened to be playing up at the time, and it caused me to be unable to complete my assignment for this particular subject that I was doing. And I was frustrated because I wanted to finish this assignment. I wanted to finish this subject because I'd started it and I don't like, you know, bombing out. I don't like failing. I don't like all that kind of stuff. So I was busting my buns to try and finish this assignment, but I just couldn't because my computer wouldn't work. And I had to take it to somebody and say, what's wrong with my computer? He says, oh, it's at the end of its life. You need a new one. So then he had to transfer all of my data onto the new one. And they were busy, and I went into a queue. And so they had my computer for 4 days. and I'm champing at the bit, and I'm thinking, I'll go to the library. Well, that's only open so many hours. And then I said to my friend, can I use your computer? So he gave me a login, and I had to download programs. So it was extremely frustrating. And I still didn't get my assignment done. And I got my computer, my new computer, and then I had to take it back to them because I couldn't download my Microsoft programs because they'd cloned my computer. And Microsoft won't allow you to download their programs onto a cloned computer. So I had to take it back to them, and they had to reinstall Windows, which meant I had to reinstall all my programs like Zoom, all my Microsoft programs, the whole kit and caboodle. So I did not complete my assignment. And I'm thinking, all right. And I was frustrated. I was kind of angry, as you can imagine. And I thought, you know what? Let's look at this. My studies are getting in the way of my business, of my book, of my music. And I don't have time to do them as much as what if I withdraw from this subject? And what if I withdraw from the whole course now? I've done a lot of stuff. I've learned a lot of stuff. And you know what? I reckon I've got enough life experience to do this myself. And not only that, I have really good people around me who are helping me. And so I came to the conclusion that I would do. And so I withdrew from the course, and I withdrew from the subject. And I felt really good about it. So sometimes there comes a point where something's got to give. And it's not an easy choice,
Mm.
but we have to make those kind of choices sometimes in business. And yeah, I just wanted to raise that. It could be anything in your life or business, but something has to give. And it's not an easy decision at the time. And it requires weighing stuff up.
Yeah. I respect that, Kristine. I respect that. I mean, to me, MBA conjures up one thing, right? More bloody action. Right? And in your case, think about it, that's relevant because you were,
It was.
right? And you were
I was.
taking on so many things. And at the end of the day, what you were focusing on was not the things that you knew you should be focusing on, even though the MBA in its own right would have been good, but was it going to be the best thing for you? And I
In the
think you came up with
beginning,
the right answer.
in the beginning, the MBA was serving the purpose, right? And I was learning some stuff. But then it got to a point where it was not going to serve me as well anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what I mean. Things, you have to know what's serving you and what's not serving you.
Yeah.
And you make the hard decisions.
Now we've got to speak up because I think Alan's gone to sleep. He's been working too hard. Oh, I feel sorry for
That's
him.
so cute. I'm so sorry. But that's the cutest thing I have seen all week. So yeah.
Yeah, it is.
We need to give him a pillow.
Got a comb over. By the way, before I forget this, do me a favor because Bishakhaa is the first time with us here today and she doesn't know anybody here. Put your LinkedIn.
There he is. He woke up.
Hey. Sorry, Alan. We shouldn't pick on you. Put your LinkedIn profile link in the chat. Okay, if you could do that, so then Bishakhaa can actually connect with you, and you can all connect with her as well. That would be lovely if you could do that. Okay.
Yeah, that would love that.
And don't forget to save the chat. Now, Tina.
Sure, I'll just share mine, and you can just tap on it and send me a request.
Say again.
So I'll share the link to my profile, and
Yes.
you can just send me a request.
Okay.
That will be easier. There you go.
Okay. Whatever you feel. I mean, I'm a technical genius. Don't ask me all these questions. I don't know. Yeah.
It's all right.
Tina, come on. Over to you. What's been the biggest challenge you've had this month?
This is just an odd month. So my biggest challenge has been me trying to make sure that I have the energy to move forward. I want to throw a little fit and stay in bed or just not get up and do my workouts in the morning. So I have been my biggest challenge, making sure I get up and I start my day off right.
We can all be our own worst enemy at times, can't we?
We can. In fact, I had something in my mind, and do you mind if I ask you this, Tina?
Sure.
Because you deal in such an incredibly emotional area, okay? Well, Kristine does to a certain extent as well, but in Tina's case, they're hot to trot in terms of boxing each other sometimes with the divorce situation. My point is this: do you ever situations where you have trouble setting boundaries with clients or potential clients, Tina?
I really don't, because I will only go after the perfect client. So I don't generally, early on, I had to set boundaries with them, but not even really so much. My problem is that I offer a service that they often won't take complete advantage of. And so I don't like it when they get lost in the weeds and they won't reach out and let me know that I need to go hunt for them. So that's my biggest challenge with my clients. So I don't feel like I have to set boundaries. In fact, it's the opposite. I have to pull up boundaries once they become client so that they know they can reach out when they need me.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. What about you, John? Your biggest challenge this month? Apart from putting up with me, that is.
Sorry, were you talking with me, Peter?
Well, I wasn't talking to myself. Yeah, I was talking to you, John.
No,
Yeah.
both my hearing aids went down, so my ears aren't working with crap.
Oh, well, I'll repeat the question. What's been your biggest challenge this month, apart from dealing with me?
Hey, you're a pleasure to deal with, so that's not a challenge. You know, the biggest challenge basically is listening more to what the prospects are actually saying, to really turning up the ears to hearing what they're saying. Because I know we all get into the deal of wanting to present our program, but over the last couple of days, the presentations I've been doing, like on these Smart Connects, have been a lot better, paying a lot more attention to what the person's not only saying verbally, but non-verbally. And that is making a big difference when talking to people.
Hmm. Hmm. Let me, I'll share one of the biggest problems I've had this month in particular was, how do you put this into words? I was stuck in comparison mode. Now think about this. I've been an entrepreneur for more years than you've been on this earth, Bishakhaa, okay? And I've been online for more years than I want to admit, since 2009, right? Whatever it was. But this month I was caught in comparison mode twice. And what that meant, I was invited via a LinkedIn connection to go to this group, right, which was having a live discussion. So I went there and I felt very awkward and I felt very uncomfortable because the average age of that group, and I should have done my homework, I understand that, I made the mistake, but the average age of that group was 23, right? And they were talking about things that were really way out of my league. And I didn't want to not continue with the attendance there because I just felt that was rude. But I was really feeling very uncomfortable. I was comparing, I'm thinking, God, Peter, you're too damn old for these people. And blah, blah, blah. And they were talking about things that meant nothing to me. Okay, they absolutely nothing to me whatsoever. And when that happened, I felt very uncomfortable. That's all. And that's an issue that some people may never admit public. I just admitted it publicly, right? I felt very uncomfortable indeed. And that impacted on the way that I reacted to them as well. And in hindsight, I should never have gone there in the first place. That's an easy thing to say, but that's what happened. Okay. Bishakhaa, what about you? Enough about me. What's been your biggest challenge this month?
It's been a wild month, I would say, and the biggest challenge has been the change in phase in my own business. It's because before this, I was charging a lower amount for the services I was providing. And then right now it was becoming very overwhelming to, for me to complete the work for the amount I was actually charging. So it was not fair. So I hooked up with a mentor, and she told me that, these are the things you can change and these are the offers you can make of yourself. So I am in a transition place where I am actually looking, reaching out to clients who can actually pay the amount what it is, suitable for the deliverables we are providing. So yeah, it's a transition period, and it's very hectic to find new clients all through, making the new business with the higher amounts. So the consistency in client is breaking, And I am having to reach out from my side to other people to let them to show them that what are the things I can actually do, and I am not just sitting around and waiting. So that's what I'm doing to solve the problem. But yeah, it's the inconsistency of the clients which I'm facing right now, because after 4 5 months they are growing and moving on. So at that time I am the one who's left with nothing, just a case study though. Yeah, I'm getting a case study from them. But yeah, that's a problem.
Tell me something. To you,
Mhm.
does your pricing feel right to you?
Sorry?
Does your pricing of your whatever you provide to people, right, your services, does it feel right to you?
Right now it is, yes. Right now it is.
Tell me more.
So before this, as I told you, I was only starting before 2 years when it was in COVID. I started. So at that time, I started with a set of package which I can offer to people as a starter, as a beginner. So I didn't really have the time to make the transition and change the prices from a beginner to an expert, if that makes a little bit sense. So yeah, that transition is going on right now, and right now the quality of work which I do and the number of leads I'm able to get for my clients, the coaches, the healing coaches, everybody. So I think, yeah, I deserve it, and yeah, feels right.
Okay, because it's a
Not
very,
that high actually. Yeah.
oh yeah, but it's a very common challenge for people to undercharge, right?
Yeah.
Because it raises the issue, do you really believe in the value that you can offer people? Because if you don't really believe in it, then you're going to have a lot of difficulty increasing the price.
Yeah.
Now I'll see straight through that. Okay. So I'm glad to hear that you believe in the value and the impact you can give to people, because that solves the problem pretty well for you. Well done. Well done. Okay. Thank you for sharing.
May I ask a question also? You
Yeah.
said
Yes.
after 4 or 5 months, your prospects leave and go somewhere else, right? What else or who else could you work with so that these
Yes.
people progress into the next phase of working with you? Can you joint venture with somebody to have them move into another program so you still get paid, or create a program to take them on the next part of their journey?
Okay, I can think about that.
Okay.
Because rather than just dropping them, they already know you, like you,
Yeah.
and trust you. So
Yeah.
if you have something else that they can move into, they'll stay with you.
Like a community, right?
Either like a community is good, but also you know where they are in their growth. So what is their next phase that they need to move into to continue growing?
Yeah.
Well said, John. Well said.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll need your help, I'll need your help, Peter, in this to, prepare it. But yeah, that's a really good idea.
Oh, don't worry, John will send you an invoice.
Yeah.
That's a joke. That's a joke, Michelle. That's a joke. Okay, don't.
Yeah, that's fine. I totally get it.
Let me share another thing with you. One of the biggest challenges all of us face, and let's be truly honest here, okay? Because we're in business, and one of the biggest challenges we face is actually finding new clients, right? True?
Sure.
Because if you had no challenge finding new clients, you wouldn't even be on this call, because you wouldn't need it
You'd be
anyway.
too busy.
Yeah, because you'd be too busy looking after the ones you've got, right? And my point is this: if you find that is slow and it's affecting your confidence, right? Does that resonate with anybody? Yeah. If that's the
Yes,
case,
it does. Yeah.
okay, then can I suggest some of you have heard me say this before, and it's so simple, it sounds stupid, but it works. Why don't you reach out to 5 new people each day? Do not have an agenda. And Bishakhaa, you should really relate to this because this is exactly what happened to you and me today, right? And the words I said to this young lady was, I don't have an agenda. I just want to get to know you and appreciate who you are and share with me your business journey, correct?
Yep.
And as a result of that, she's joined us here on this session here because I want to help her, and we'll all help each other, right? My point to you is, why don't you, if you reach out to 5 people with no agenda, but just to make them feel special, to show them that you are genuinely interested in them as a person. Expect this. They will not believe you to start with because that doesn't happen. Whenever people reach out, they've always got something hidden and they want to get it to you, right? You know that. But you've got to, if you can work out a way to get over that hump, then you can open up the floodgates to a whole lot of opportunities for yourself. And if that's something you'd like to have a session on, then why don't we do that? John, what do you think? We could run a session. We could run a separate session maybe next week if you want on how to go about talking to new people in a way that makes them feel comfortable. Something like that. Would that be helpful?
That's a good idea.
All right. Now, whether they're in a property business that Alan wants, or they're going through a divorce procedure that Tina's got, or whether they're in a wellness business for Kristine, or within all the areas that Bishakhaa works in, which, by the way, you haven't told us. How about you tell us what you do?
Sure. So I am a social media manager, but my specialty is LinkedIn growth and strategy. So that's what I do. Yeah. I do end-to-end management from designing your graphics to uploading them on time and, everything.
Well, you know what? I'm so pleased you said that, because one of the other big challenges people have is how much damn time are they spending on social media? Are you getting the right return for your time and your money on social media, or should you delegate some of that?
Yep.
Think about that. Anyway, all right. I want to come back to you, John, if you don't mind. And I want you to share some thoughts. This is coming right out of left field, everybody, right? But I know what John's going to say, and you may or may not want to do this, but hear what he's got to say. I want you to share your thoughts about Iran, John.
Yeah. Basically, when you look at Iran and Israel, do you realize that the U.S. has had basically sanctions or whatever against them for 45 years? And it's going way back in presidents and everything else. But what happens is, with the way the world is going right now, depending when you have your clients, they need to be aware of the challenges in this world. Peter and I were talking yesterday about a regime change. And a lot of this is big governments are trying to control other countries. Whether we like it or not, it's being done. And it affects everybody's life in a lot of ways. Peter was just saying this morning, Thailand closes the border to Cambodia. There's a lot of countries that are positioning and that because they don't know where things are going. India and Pakistan, you got the US, Iran, and all over the world. So depending on where you're dealing with your clients, what's that going to mean to them? How are they going to deal with all these political bullshit challenges? We can't control a war ourselves, but we can control how we do business with our clients. And you can put the clients more at ease by showing them that your services can help them. Kristine, there'll be a lot of people with a lot more stress. So what are you going to do to help people with stress? Depending on if you're working with a manufacturing company or whatever, and they're shipping their products to another country, how do they deal with the stress? Alan, they've got property investments coming up all over Europe and that in Southeast Asia. How is that going to affect them? If an investor is going to put up a few $1 million, is the money going to be secure? or their money, not just his, their money. Tina, she's dealing with high-end people for divorces. Not all of them are North American descent. Some of them come from other countries. They're concerned about their health, their country, and what have you. Now, the other thing that we're seeing is a lot of sleeper programs are being awakened. And what's that going to do in various countries? So you want to take a look at your business, where your clients are, and what the current political landscape can be doing to them and their business. Take a look at it and say, hey, there is some stability. If you're trying to deal with Iran and you're dealing with another country that's going to fight them, is that where they want to have their money? And a lot of this other stuff is strictly political. It has nothing to do with the little people. It is just having to say, hey, this is all politics. For example, the Iranians and the Israelis are warning each other when they're sending over the missiles.
Yeah.
What a great war. Hey, we're going to bomb you in 2 hours. Tell all your people to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And then when the U.S. went in, what they did was they dropped their bombs. They went down to be bunker busters. What they did was they were just going deep and blowing up the Iranian bunkers. Now, the other part, if you were paying attention to the news, is all the bunkers were empty because the Israelis told them they were going to bomb them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They took all the people out and all the stuff out. Now they don't know where they put it, but they took all the people and stuff out.
So rather than getting into the nitty-gritty of all that, the key issue that you're talking about, John, is the fact that this war in Iran, right, is going to impact the people that we deal with in a variety of ways. And it could it's something that we need to be prepared for so we can share with them and get them to open up and make them share with us how they feel about that, so we understand them and appreciate them even more. Is that right?
Yep. And again, it's all these wars are political. And it's
about resources.
Yeah, it's the resources are about, the certain rich people in different countries finance both sides of the war. They've been doing it for centuries. And again, it's not about the little person. It's about profit for them.
Good point.
And that's the unfortunate part. The casualties are the people in those countries and that deal with those countries. So if you've got clients or potential clients, let them know that, hey, there is a way out of this, and don't get super stressed by it.
Well said. Thank you, John. Good suggestion. Good suggestion. And it is a bit out of left field, but it's also something that's going to become perhaps more real than we want to care about when you think about it.
Well, there'd be people who are worried about what the implications are for the future. They're worried about their kids and their kids' future. Yeah, that's right.
Correct. I agree with that. Well done. Yeah. Well done. Thank you, John. By the way, one other issue that I want to raise as part of being a potential problem that most people have, including me, is that sometimes our routines are all over the place, right? We're not as organised as we think we are. And we never say this publicly because we don't want people to think, we're not very professional what we do. But
sometimes things disorganise you because they're not planned for things, right, Peter?
Well, yeah. And things come out of left field and
that's right.
Yeah. Well, let's not go down that track, but I hear where you're coming from, Kristine. But my point is this. When that happens to me, I think to myself, what is my morning routine? What is my evening routine? If I don't know what that is, then I'm going to be in trouble. Okay? I need to know. I really need to get it very clear in my mind. What is my morning and my evening routine? The rest of the day will take care of itself. But those two things are important to me. And then the most important thing, once I've got that, is then I run that past my granddaughter, right? Because she is my marketing director, my administration manager, my boss, and God knows what do you want to call her. And she wants to make sure that grandpa's got time for her. So the key issue is, when you are looking at your routine, are you actually putting yourself in there as well, or looking after everybody else first? Because I have been guilty of the latter. I have been guilty of looking after everybody else, but not looking.
I know that.
So guilty as charged, but I want to share that publicly, that's all. Any other thoughts? Because we'll wrap it up pretty soon otherwise. Any other challenges that you've had this month that you'd like to have a session in the future or whatever it may be?
I'm good.
Okay. All righty.
All the topics you've picked are really good. You know, they make us think about our own routines. It makes us think about what that means to others, so that when we get on this call, we can share things that are meaningful. So I really like the topics that you pick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. By the way, one topic I should have mentioned that is a real challenge for some people, and that is launching an offer that you have. Sometimes that is a huge problem for people. Okay, a huge problem. Not just the pricing bit that we talked about with Bishakhaa, right? But the whole shooting match. How do you go about launching the darn thing, right? What are the steps involved with that? Maybe that's a session we could run as well. Would that be helpful or not?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Would.
All right. Okay, we'll do that. Anything else? Well, then do me a favor, save the chat. Love you all. Thank you so much for joining today. Welcome to our little team, Bishakhaa. I hope you can join us each week. Check your email. You should have got an email.
I did.
If you did, you got it. Got it. All right. Okay. Take care. Thank you, everybody. Love you dearly. And talk to you
Thanks,
next week.
Ben.